Hey, this is Ebube Olivia Akueme, and I'm coming to you live from Kent in the UK. How are you today? I hope you're well and you're good and you're having an absolutely fantastic Wednesday. Yes, of course, today is Wednesday. I'm having a good Wednesday. I was going to talk about something else today, but this afternoon I started feeling a little bit under the weather. So I'd rather go with a topic that for me is straightforward. Not too much talking, but very relevant and very useful. Of course, today I'm going to be talking about money, and I'm going to be talking about spending. And my question today is, how do you spend your money? Because it's one of the questions that I think from time to time, is worth asking, especially asking yourself, how do you spend your money? What drives your spending? Have you ever thought about that anyway? Have you ever thought about, okay, what drives my spending? Why do I spend money the way I spend money? What are the kind of things that I buy? Are they necessary? Are they unnecessary? Are they needed? Are they not needed? Are they things that I want, or are they things that I prefer, or maybe things that I really, really need? Because there's a difference between what you prefer or want and what you need. So these are some of the questions that I think from time to time, if you can take time and, answer some of these questions, it would help to address some of the issues that, some people face when it comes to, or maybe you are facing that when it comes to your spending. Okay, so I'm going to be going into delving into it straight away. The first one actually has to do with somebody who try and figure out where you are in any of the three things that three type of spenders and I'm going to be sharing. Sometimes you might be a mix and sometimes not. Sometimes you're predominantly one. But again, just to say this upfront, that your spending is usually driven by your attitude. So the first one is, and this is my question to you, are you somebody who spends because you're anxious? So you're an anxiety kind of spender. You see, an anxiety kind of spender always thinks that things are going to go away. They're never going to be there anymore. And so they find themselves, just spending recklessly. It's a very reckless way of spending. Not only are they buying things that, they don't necessarily need, but they buy more than is necessary, if that makes a lot of sense. And it's born from anxiety. And we definitely witnessed this when we had the pandemic. So I'm talking about way back. Thank God it's way back. I can say way back. In 2020, 2021, we witnessed, that sort of thing where people just went out there and they were buying. I don't know if you guys remember stories like people will buy like toiletries or toilet roll. For instance, somebody will go to the shop and buy toilet roll, and instead of you buying just the normal how many that you will buy, they were buying loads and loads of it. I remember the case of one particular man who did that, and then when the pandemic came to a place where it was easy enough and he saw he probably didn't need the toilet rolls anymore, he tried to return them back to the shop, but of course they would not accept it from him, and he spent a lot of money. You can imagine spending £1,000 on toilet rolls, all sort of things. People were overbuying, but it was born from anxiety. It was born from a place of fear, them not knowing, what tomorrow will bring, what will happen. So it's also a question of, panic buying, where you buy not based on what you need, not even based on what you want, but just thinking that, okay, that thing is going to, we're not going to see it anymore. It's going to finish. And so let me buy as many as possible. Whether or not you need them, let me just keep on buying and buying and buying and buying. And of course, it just doesn't make sense. It's not a proper way to spend your money, or to, keep your spending going, because at the end of the day, a lot of the things that you're buying usually are bought, you buy many of them, you end up not using them, you end up wasting them, you end up money that could have gone to something else is what basically you're using, when it comes to anxiety buying, as I call it, or panic buying, as we saw during the pandemic. Is the same thing. It's just buying needlessly. That's the word. It's needless buying. You don't need it, you don't want it, but it's born from fear, it's born from anxiety, and so therefore you feel you're compelled somehow. Something compels you, something pushes you to buy all of these things because you feel, okay, oh, I'm going to need them and it's going to help me, but it doesn't in the end. So my question today to you is, what type of spender are you? What type of you know, when it comes to your money, how do you spend? Okay, now let me move on to number 2. Number 2 is very similar to number 1, but number 2 has to do with people that I call impulsive buyer. Now, I was pretty much an impulsive buyer, you know, a long time ago, until I started learning how to spend my money, because there's a way to spend your money that is to your benefit, and there's a way to spend your money that is not to your benefit. And sometimes people will go, what is your business with the way I spend my money? There's nobody's business with the way you spend your money. But today's topic is all just about, you know, highlighting things that can make you move forward in your finances. Today's about finance, obviously. And the way you spend your money makes a huge difference, because usually for a lot of people is the difference between them achieving financial independence, them achieving financial freedom, and them not achieving financial freedom. Because if you use your money for, you know, save your money, invest and things like that, then you're better on your way to, you know, creating the kind of life that you want. So if that's your kind of person, stick around. This message is for you. If you're not that kind of a person, fine, you can, you know, move on to the next Facebook Live or whatever it is that you're doing on the internet. But the reality remains that, you know, the way we spend our money shows a lot of things about what is going on within ourselves, but also it would determine if we're able to create certain results, especially the kind of results that we're looking for financially in our life. So back to my point number 2. My point number 2 is on impulse buying. Now let me tell you what impulse buying looks like, because I did it for a while, you know, way back. Impulse buying looks like, I go into the shop, let's imagine the store. I go into the store. Now I want to buy groceries. So obviously, unlike an anxiety kind of buyer, I'm there for a reason. I need to shop, right? Oh yes, I need to shop. However, usually with impulse buying, there's no list. There is no like, okay, direction. There's no, I think that's the problem. The problem is that there's no direction whatsoever. You get into the shop, and this was how I would do it. I would go from aisle to aisle to aisle to aisle. I'll cover the whole shop. Like from, it doesn't matter how big that store is. I'll go from aisle to aisle to aisle. The problem with impulse buying, I'm not buying from panic. I'm just buying from an impulse. I see it. It's very visual. I see it. I like it. Okay, this thing would be useful. It was never on my list. I never intended to buy it. I was never even thinking about it like 5 minutes ago until I saw it. So it's impulsive. It is activated. The want or desire or my idea that I need it is activated by my meeting it physically in that moment and thinking, okay, I think I would need this thing, you know, I think I would need it. And then impulsively, that's why they call it impulse buying. Impulsively, not on the plan, not in the strategy, not part of the plan, not even in the budget. And I think that's the very annoying thing about impulse buying, is that you buy it. So let me give that example again. I will go into the shop. I will start from, let's imagine I walked into Tesco or Sainsbury or wherever I was shopping. I will start from the first aisle and I will go down one aisle, onto the next aisle, onto the next aisle. Now, let me tell you what I used to do. I would buy so many things. At the end of the day, number one, I didn't have a budget. So when I'm done buying, what happens is I have this huge cart, okay? It's filled up with food. It's filled up with all sorts of things that I've bought. No problem. I pay for it. Where probably I was meant to spend maybe like £100, I'm spending like 150, maybe more. Whatever it is I'm spending way above what I'm meant to spend. I'm giving that as an example. The annoying thing now is I bring all those things home. Half of them I use and half of them end up becoming what I call science projects in my fridge. So I have things that are there and then it's just there and I'm not using them. I never use them. I never wanted them. It was bought on impulse, or maybe clothing that I will never wear, or house things that I will never use. Does that make a lot of sense? But I just bought them because I thought at the moment, in that instance, emotionally, I was triggered. It looks beautiful. I think I will need it. And I bought it. That is what impulse buying looks like until I was delivered from that way of behavior, that attitude of spending my money, because I was obviously wasting money. It wasn't just the one time. It was when you add up how much, you spend impulsively, week in, week out, month in, month out, year in, year out, then you begin to understand what I'm talking about, and you begin to understand the difference between using your money wisely for things that are important, for, towards investments and savings and things that make more sense than just buying them and they waste. Okay. So I remember a mentor of mine many years ago, she would say things like, if you come into somebody's home, look around. Everything there has been bought with money. So when you look around, anything you're seeing, furniture, whatever it is that you're looking at, is all from money. But the reality is that's just money lying around, especially when these are things that they never really needed, but they bought anyway. That's where your money is. That's where your money is sitting. Now, let me tell you about the third type of spender. The third type of spender is a comparison spender. This is somebody who takes out time to compare. They take out time to create a list. They take out time to school themselves in what their needs are. And it's something that if you're really serious about wanting to know how to spend your money, then you should take out time and do, what do I need versus what do I want or prefer? Because those are two different things now. And then taking out time to actually drop a list when you're going into the shop. It doesn't matter where you're going, whether it's the groceries you're doing or something else you're doing or non-groceries, you draw it up anyway. You know what you want. You create your list. I always do that now for many years, many years. Ever since I learned my lesson, I've been doing that. And it works a very, very long way. And sometimes I use time. I get into the shop about, let's say, 6 o'clock I'm in the shop, and I tell myself by 6:30 I'm out of here. I don't dilly-dally. I don't perambulate. I don't go to aisles. I look up at the aisles. That's not the aisle I want. I move on to the aisle I want. Get what I want. I have my list. I know what I want. I'm there for something, and I get out. If I see something that is on sale, I buy one, unlike buying 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of it, and maybe at the end of the day I might not even use it. You get what I'm saying? So comparison buyers also are very prudent, because you want to make sure that not only are you going to the right places to shop, but you're comparing prices. Because sometimes you might find something, this price here and that price there. Now, it's not something that you're going to learn how to do in one day, but it comes in handy. It comes in, it can be very useful for you to know, okay, that's where I need to go and shop. And not just buying things that are less, less pricey, but they're buying, you're buying things that are quality as well, because that's another way to spend your money. Quality things, but at reasonable prices. So you're getting, two good things at the same time. Your money is working well, you're stretching it far, you're getting stuff. But comparison simply means, it doesn't even matter, but it just means that you pause and you take time to contemplate, to think, and to, decide where you want to shop, what you're shopping for, what are the things you're buying, and things like that. You're not just impulsive. Neither are you buying from a place of anxiety. I hope that makes a lot of sense and you found value in today's Facebook Live. Until next time, my friends, stay well and be better with your finances. Be better with your spending. Until next time, my friends, take care. Bye.